Let me ask you a question. With this side hustle stuff, with these different gig economy apps, do some apps perform differently than others? Absolutely, 100%. I mean, since doing this stuff since 2015, 100%. But what influences, like ultimately, is it worth it to do it? Is it worth it? That's the main question. Well, I mean, customer demand, the pay, the base pay, the bonus pay. I don't know how popular the app is with market share in your app. I don't know. What about seasonality and time of day? 100%. So get this. This is my third ever Gopuff driver shift, delivering convenience items to customers. Now, the first shift, get this, was at 8 a.m. in the morning. The second shift was around 4 p.m. Well, we're doing things a little bit different. Number one, those shifts were just going online. I drove there, didn't schedule anything, I went online. Today, it's a scheduled shift, and it's a touch earlier. It is 7:30 in the morning, 2-hour shift. So I'm curious, is the morning going to prove, because again, time of day, it really does matter, folks. Is the morning gonna be like not worth it whatsoever? Because I did 15 an hour on the first shift versus almost 24 an hour on that later afternoon shift. And then number two, does scheduling a shift do anything as a driver? And that matters because sometimes these apps will prioritize a scheduled shift. So join me on these super bumpy roads here in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. My goodness. For my third ever Gopuff shift. And we're gonna find out and hopefully answer these questions. Does the morning matter? Does scheduled shifts matter? Is this a good option for your side hustle portfolio? And hopefully, can we beat 15 an hour on that low shift of that other morning? Let's find out. All right, and I'm at the warehouse. Now, here's what I'm gonna be looking for this shift. Here's the big standouts I want you to pay attention to if you're considering driving for Gopuff. Number one, how many multi-stop orders, drops am I gonna get? That's important because there's a flat pay. Check it out. There's like what, $3.25 plus tips on every order. So I don't want to spend like 8 minutes, 9 minutes going from here to a drop just to come back 8 or 9 minutes for like another single drop. Ideally, I'm getting as many drops as I can, so I'm getting paid per drop, and then I can come back and hopefully get like another 2 or 3 drops. I don't want to alarm you, but it's been about 30 minutes online for my scheduled shift. I'm still online. It says hang tight, no orders yet. There is a minimum guarantee because you've scheduled time. It's $9 an hour, which is not worth it. So remember, folks, we're trying to determine, is Gopuff worth it on the large scale? And then today we're trying to whittle it down for you. The mornings might not be worth it whatsoever. I mean, I didn't do well on the 8 a.m. shift. The 7:30 shift so far, I am not surprised whatsoever, but it's not done yet. Hang with me. Now, I don't want to alarm you. I don't want to alarm you, but I got my first bin request, my first drop off, and that took an hour. Yeah, that took just about an hour. Well, yeah, it's 8:30 right now. Jeez. Oh, to get my first request. I saw another driver waiting. A driver that was waiting when I got there did get a request, but he was waiting for a while. I mean, I do this for you. Please drop a like on this video if you appreciate that, because I'm thinking the morning is not the move for Gopuff, but I've only done like 2 morning shifts. So help me out. Comment down below if you've done morning shifts. It's really nice out, but that doesn't pay the bills. Anyway, let's I only got an hour left on the shift, on my scheduled shift. So let me do this drop off, and we'll swing back and hopefully not wait an hour for another bin request. Okay, I can't reach my first customer. I'm parked right out here. They got a little like ring like doorbell. I did that. They have another kind of blank button. I push that. I open the screen door. I knocked on the door. Nothing. I texted them. Nothing. This is an age-restricted delivery, so I can't just make the delivery without confirming the age of the recipient. I checked the delivery notes because if you didn't know, you get access to other drivers' delivery notes about the stop. Nothing that said they're unreachable. I'm gonna get out here in a second. I just had to move my car, but it said having trouble and then couldn't reach customer. So right now there's a now 4-minute timer. It was 5 minutes. I knocked off a minute. Check it out. Final countdown. It says knock on door, call the customer, send a text, call again, knock again. And you have this. I know DoorDash has this, and most every app has, something like this. It's a huge pain. What I really didn't like was I had this timer up, this drop off delay thing, and I clicked like back to go through the rest of the app, and then the timer didn't keep going. I mean, I went back in, I had to click again, having problems, can't reach customer, and then the 5-minute counter restarted. So don't do that if you have to do this countdown thing. Listen to what happened here. All right, couldn't find the customer. I waited 5 minutes. I already knocked doorbell, well, both, I guess, doorbells. I texted them and I contacted, get this, support. Check it out. It says, do you want to keep trying or do you want to contact support? I clicked on contact support. So I called support, pretty straightforward. I'm like, hey, I can't reach a customer at a delivery address, and they called the customer. I mean, I could have called too, could have called to start, but whatever. So they called the customer and they did come out. So, I politely said to the guy, I'm like, hey, does your doorbell work? And he said he couldn't hear it from upstairs. It happens, but I probably burned at least 10 minutes at that delivery point. So my scheduled shift is done in 30 minutes. I did one delivery, folks. I mean, geez, and it had problems on it too. So use your best judgment. Oh, by the way, let me show you something. So I'm gonna try to help you out with what to do when it's slow. Number one, check all your other apps. See if there's something else you can do to pivot to make more money. Because look what Uber Eats was doing as an example. There's no peak pay on DoorDash, but look at Uber Eats, pretty good. And then throughout my delay at the warehouse, it got even better. It got crazy with the surge pay on Uber Eats. So there you go. If you have the ability to do so, to pivot, do it. Now, here's the thing. When you schedule a shift with Gopuff, they expect you to complete the shift and not drop it. If you drop it, they said you can get deactivated eventually if you're dropping shifts that you've scheduled. So this is why it's so important to do some research. So you'll know, like, well, I'm not gonna schedule in the morning because if I'm gonna do Gopuff, the afternoons and evenings are the best. Because if you're locked in, you might be like me and regretting scheduling that 7:30 or 8 a.m. shift. I do this for you. Again, drop a like on this video if you appreciate that. So let's knock out, another 30 minutes? I'm gonna get 1 to 3 other drop-offs, hopefully. All right, we did it. We got another request here. It's gonna close up the shift. So 2 bins, so 2 drop-offs here. 1 downtown, 1 more in, I guess, the South Oakland area of Pittsburgh here. All right, let's do it. Okay, delivery 1 of 2. Can't go smoothly without some problems. Downtown delivery, which can get a little tough for parking, but parking was fine in this case. It was another age-restricted delivery, like the other one where you couldn't reach the customer. So a customer came down fine. The issue was the ID wasn't working, so she had a passport. Passport, ID, either one of those work. And it says in the app, which I like, it says ID or a passport, or I think it says Visa. So I click on passport, I hold the passport up, and it's gonna take a picture, like scan it basically, and it didn't do anything. It just kept like hold it center or whatever it did, and it didn't do anything. So I'm standing there with the customer. I'm like, well, you know, sorry for the delay. This should go through in a second. There was an option when I backed out of the scan because it wasn't working to take a picture. And then it thought it was like an ID. It said, take a picture. And then it said, take a picture of the bag capturing the barcode. But I'm like, this is a passport. So what happens then when you take the manual photos, you are sent a verification code, like an approval code from support. I mean, this is brand new. So we're trying to figure out, we went back to the scan after that, still wasn't scanning. And then I got a pop up on my phone like, hey, approved. And then the customer just signs for it. So yeah, sorry you had to see that shift today. Pretty bad, but taking a step back, what did we actually learn for Gopuff and some of these other gig apps, right? So number one, for Gopuff, we're slowly developing a verdict of, is the morning not worth it, like at all? And don't count out mornings in general, because look, I posted this on my story. Make sure to subscribe so you can see things like this. But I posted Uber Eats in the morning doing super well. And then number two, we talked about getting locked into shifts with this scheduling. So you might, coupled with number one, want to be even more wary of those morning shifts. Like, well, as you saw, I mean, Uber Eats was super busy, but I scheduled my 2 hours on Gopuff. Number three is understanding, I mean, does it make sense to even do in your marketplace? Where does it rank as far as dollars per hour in your marketplace? I mean, well, speaking of, look at the numbers, I guess. Look at this. So, you know, the hours, 2 hours, gross revenue, I got $20. $20 for being out there for 2 hours. I mean, you can say, well, you didn't do anything for an hour, so at least you didn't put miles in the vehicle. I mean, I get it, but you know, $10.21 per hour, 3 deliveries, 3 tips received. Tips are on par with other apps, $3.55 for an average tip. Business miles, next to nothing. I mean, if there's any solace, I mean, I didn't drive a lot because I did 3 deliveries in like, what, a little over an hour, I guess. $2.49 paid out per mile, which is good, and a tax deduction of $4.80. So I feel like only after 2 early AM shifts, let's think about that. I've only done 2 morning shifts on Gopuff, but I mean, the verdict, it's like coming down pretty quickly. The morning might not be a good niche for Gopuff. Maybe another app, maybe food delivery, if anything, if you had to do anything, but the verdict of, is Gopuff worth it? It might be, just for the afternoons and the evenings. So if you got value in this video, you can drop a like, helps out the video and the channel. I appreciate that. And you can also click or tap the screen here for my newest video, as well as a video recommended for you. And I'll see you in the next one.